paragate. You getting it? Once you reach the paragate level, then your happiness can be known as transcendental happiness. Happiness which transcends the likes and the dislikes. You getting it? That is a transcendental happiness. Okay, so therefore, if you think that I said that happiness is suffering, don't leave this hall. I will also stay here. I will teach you more. Right? Only if you're able to say that, no, you did not say this, then you can leave.
Geshe, you might never be able to go back to India at that point.
Okay.
I have
Yes.
an annoying question, maybe. So, Buddhist monks renounce the enjoyable secular life, but in some sense, I don't know if it's true, but it seems like there's some sort of an attachment to the robe, to removing the hair, to the lifestyle, assuming that this lifestyle will get you closer to enlightenment. What do you have to say about that?
Okay. Let's say that enjoyable secular life. Enjoyable secular life. I have been, in fact, I'm not confined in a monastery. I've been traveling, and I'm staying with the enjoyable secular life all the time. Enjoyable secular family all the time. And listening to the problems is so painful. Every time I stay there, right, there's always a problem, the fear, anxiety, right? Worry about the children, their own health issues. So much a problem. You describe it as a very nice word, enjoyable.
But
Now the point is, yes, I got it. So first one, the point is that it is really, okay, I remember my teacher, Venerable Gelam, he said one thing. He said, if you have no suffering, there's no reason for you to study Buddhism. Amazing. Nobody forces us. Nobody forces somebody to embrace Buddhism. Nobody forces somebody to, say, for example, your parents can force you to go to school, but nobody forces you to follow the Buddha's teaching. If you have no suffering, he says, he is an incredible great teacher, Buddhist teacher. Yet he's so confident, he said, if you have no suffering, don't embrace Buddhism, he said. Now, always do things with purpose. Without a purpose, to do something is just nonsense. So even to embrace Buddhism, only if you have suffering, embrace it. Don't embrace it if you don't have suffering. You getting it? Okay, this is one thing. Number two, say let's say, gati. What is gati? Go beyond, go utterly beyond, and go beyond, go utterly beyond, and establish your enlightenment. You getting it? Okay. So it's not go and bodhiswaha, gate and bodhiswaha, right? Okay. So say, and last year in Singapore, I met one professor. During one-on-one question, he asked me one very serious question. And this does not apply to you, it applies to me, the people who are born Buddhists, people who are born Hindus, people who are born Jews, people who are born Christians, people who are born, say, the Muslims, and so forth. He asked this question to me, you're a Buddhist? I said, yes. And this is not the Singaporean style, right? And he said, Singaporean style is very gentle, very sensitive, what the other person's, maybe should not offend others. And I was expecting, Singaporean. And he said, you're a Buddhist. I said, yes. Imagine, if you are not born in a Buddhist family, do you think that still you're going to be Buddhist? Wow. And I said, this is an incredibly important question. In fact, 90, if not 100%, 90% of the people who embrace religions, they embrace their respective religions because they were born in that family. 90%, if not 95 or 98%. You getting it? Okay, this is a very serious question. So simply because somebody has become a monk or become Buddhist doesn't mean that the person understands everything, right? For example, say some children, when they see their friends, going to music, they also say, I want to go to music. And then I don't know about the Israelis, but in many of the places, when some girls, they go to nurse, everybody goes to nurse. When there's a trend of going to become doctor, everybody wants to become doctor, right? So there's a trend. So there's a trend also there, trend. And then say the trend. So with the trend, everyone is not enlightened. Everyone is not enlightened. We move on the basis of our feelings. And what about seeing somebody else becoming a monk, seeing somebody else become a Buddhist? That makes you feel happy. You also feel like doing it. It doesn't mean that the person is already enlightened. It doesn't mean the person is already following Gate, Para, some of the Buddhist one. So which means that still we are in the form of the limitations, mistakes and so forth. You're getting it? Okay. You can ask only those people who really know thoroughly about these things, thoroughly about emptiness, thoroughly about bodhicitta, actually practicing them and reach some level. Then you can say that, okay, this person is doing like this. So what is this? Right? Whereas those people who are still before first Gate, they are ordinary people like any one of us. Yeah. Okay.
About emptiness, we said in the first session yesterday, you asked us what we want to change or why we were here, why we came here, and many of us mentioned things that are related to relationships, to others. And I wonder how do you practice, how do you work on practicing emptiness, for example, with our children, because it's part of our job in life to be attached to them, or to be...
Not attached, responsibility.
Okay.
And of course the attachment is naturally there.
Yeah.
It's naturally there, a sense of responsibility. The Buddha said, take care of your parents, take care of your spouse and your children. This is what the Buddha very clearly indicated. Right? Yes,
Can
so the question is...
say something about practicing emptiness?
Practice emptiness pertaining to your daily relationship with your children, with your spouse, with your husband, wife, parents and so forth. Is the question?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a very practical question. In fact, so you remember the two things, emptiness and dependent origination. You're right? So with the relationship, say due to the practical relationship, so there we have to work with the work on dependent origination. Dependent origination. So say, okay, some of the parents, they easily become so agitated, easily become uptight when the children they do not do good, right? It's become so agitated. Okay, so there, finally, it is not that your child has to do so good in his or her studies, right? Child should be a happy child. Child should grow to a very decent boy or a decent girl, right? And to the best of the capacity, if the child has capacity to grow like 60%, not 100%, 60%, if the child grows to 58, 59, this is your success. Child's potential is only 60% and you're expecting him or her to be 89% good, 90% good. This is being unrealistic. We don't see dependent origination, right? But dependence on this capacity that he has, on that basis you work hard to make him close to his or her potential. That's a mark of success. That's a mark of success. So finally, what is important is the child should grow. Don't forget it. Child should grow, not physically, mentally. Compassion, wisdom. Should go both sides, compassion and wisdom both, knowledge and compassion. So this growth takes place only if the child is ready to learn. Ready to learn means receptivity. Receptivity opens up only if the child feels love and affection. Irritation from the parents will close the receptivity, right? Child will feel either anger or intimidated, fear. Moment the fear and the anger arises, receptivity closes. With the anger and the fear, right? With the anger and the fear, the child may do. With the anger, the child will not do. With the fear, the child may do. Child may do what you want, but without joy. Without joy, the child suffers, and you are, in a way, you are torturing the child. Your job is not to torture the child. Your job is to make the child happy. Right? So therefore, the point is, by dependent origination, by dependence on giving love and affection, and in a skillfully giving wisdom, giving the intelligence, then the child's growth will be originated. Dependent origination, right? This is so important. And for that matter, the mother's relationship with the father, husband's wife relationship, that plays a very important role in the child's development. The children, they are learning from the parents' relationship, right? If the mother always fights with the husband always fights with the mother, and the others, both of them, they're fighting all the time, the child is seeing this. Very likely, in most likelihood, when a child grows older, he will also fight, he or she will also fight with his or her spouse, right? So therefore, this is by dependence on these factors, right? What the child is going to be originated into depends on the factors that you are creating in your family. Okay, so finally, the key point is love and affection. Skillful love and affection. Skillful love and affection. Towards your children, towards your spouse, towards your parents. Towards your parents, I'm saying this. Towards your parents also, not just spouse. Towards your parents. How you behave with your parents. The children, they're learning how I should behave with my parents. You're getting it? How you behave with your parents. If you ignore your parents, right? If you ignore parents and parents request for something, you ignore this, your child is sensing this. Okay, when I grow older, I should also ignore my parents, right? So these are the things by dependent. This is where dependent origination plays a very important role.
Can we go one step more in the law of karma that we are speaking about? It is a connection.
Okay, law of karma. So, out of the three levels of dependent origination, law of karma falls under the first category. Law of karma falls under the first category of dependent origination, right? Law of karma. And then there are two things. Say cause-effect relationship. There are two. Cause-effect governed by cause-effect which falls under the law of karma kind, and the cause-effect which falls under the natural causation. Natural causation, and the other one is cause-effect under the karmic, the form. There are two, right? Natural cause-effect means, say, if I keep this flower in the sun for like 10 hours, the flower does not say, oh, I'm feeling hot, so therefore I should shrink. Flower does not say this, automatically shrinks, because the sun dries up the water inside, the fluid inside, and then it will shrink. This is known as that depends on the sun, and the sun being affected by the water inside, and then the flower is shrinking, coming to being as a result. That is a natural cause and effect. So say this flower, if I pick this up and throw this, the flower will not go back, right? Flower does not have the intention to go back. Whereas if there's one ant, if I throw this, right, it falls, it comes back. So there, say one which can act. What makes for example, if there's the honey there, and then there's the ant, I remove the ant, kicked him off a little bit away, and will continue to come towards the honey. Whereas if there's a honey, next to the honey there's a petal, one petal, or a leaf, I remove the leaf will not come back to the honey. Right? Why the ant is coming back, why not the leaf is coming back? Because ant, there's intention. Intention. So cause and effect, where intention is involved, is known as karmic cause effect. Cause effect, where the intention is missing, that is known as natural cause and effect. So there are two kinds of cause and effect. Okay, now, any more questions before we go to the next? Yes.
If I choose change, yeah, I need to declare renunciation before that I meditate.
Okay, if you choose change, should you what?
I need to declare
Declare?
in my mind.
Yes. Okay, make a
Before that
commitment.
I meditate mindfulness.
Okay, this is very good. So where if you want to change, transform yourself,
Yeah.
we need to declare, meaning we need to be committed. We need to be committed that I should change, I should transform, and I should be mindful of the change. I should be mindful of the processes with which the change can happen with me. Yes, declaration, I see that as more like making commitment. This is very precious, very important. Yes.
Maybe relates a little bit to his question.
Huh?
Would you define law of karma as objective or subjective?
Everything is objective. Don't leave this hall. Oh, everything is subjective.
You can go.
Thank you. Okay, now I'm not allowed to go. Okay, so, right? Everything is subjective to existence. Nothing exists objectively, right? So therefore,
Even karma and Buddha would deny that in
Buddha, karma, everything, right? Yes, yet everything operates very smoothly. Everything subjectively. Yesterday, somebody asked a question. Okay, if everything is subjectively existent, how can you distinguish between the subjectivity of the flower and the imaginary flower? How can you distinguish the two? If everything is, then both are subjectively real, both are subjective, then how can you distinguish the two things? So yesterday I made the distinction that one involves cause and effect, operation well, and the other doesn't involve cause and effect, right? So this is law. So the point is that the cause, everything is subjectively existent, including the Buddha, right? Everything, even emptiness, alternate reality is also subjectively real. Nothing exists objectively, right? Okay. Any more questions before we switch to the next? Yes, Eris.
Geshe, yesterday you said, you did give a very broad explanation, but if you can please indicate and clarify the relationship between the four applications of mindfulness and the four seals.
Okay, this is a good question. Yes. Okay, before I do that, your job, you should do your own job, right? Your job is, what are the four seals? All. Okay. Eris, hey, what are the four seals? What?
All compounded phenomena of impermanent,
Yes.
or becoming
Things are.
the nature of suffering.
Very good.
All phenomena are empty and selfless.
Very good.
And passing beyond the two extremes, passing beyond suffering is
Very good. Okay, the four seals. What are the four mindfulnesses? Mindfulness of the body to be
Impure.
impure. The mindfulness of
Feeling.
feeling to be suffering nature. Number third, mindfulness of mind to be impermanent, and finally the mindfulness of the phenomena to be selfless nature, empty nature, selfless nature, right? Okay, so now let's see. We are going to. It is not 100% they are identical, but we can tally them greatly. Okay, first the body to be impure. Body to be impure. Okay, let's talk about it a little later. Body to be impure. Okay, in your mind, you should have the four seals here very clear. Out of four, mindfulness is here. What is the second mindfulness? Mindfulness of the feeling to be unpleasant. Mindfulness of the feeling. Okay, now henceforth, let us not just say mindfulness of body, mindfulness of feeling. Instead of that, let's say mindfulness of the body to be impure, mindfulness of the feeling to be unpleasant, or mindfulness of the feeling to be the same. Mindfulness of feeling to be suffering nature, right? Or unpleasant, suffering nature. Okay. Then mindfulness of what is number 3? Mindfulness of mind to be impermanent. And then number 4, mindfulness of the phenomena to be selfless nature. Very good. Okay, so this is how we're going to enumerate the 4 mindfulnesses. With this mind, the first body, let's keep that aside for the time being. What's number 2? Feeling. The feeling to be of suffering nature, right? Mindfulness of feeling to be suffering nature. So that of the 4 seals, second one. What's the second one? All contaminated things are the nature of suffering. So okay, the second mindfulness and the second seal, we can see them correlated. These 2 are correlated, right? What is number 3? Mindfulness of the mind to be impermanent. And of the 4 seals, where did we talk about impermanence?
3.
Okay, number 3, right? Number 3, 4 seals. We talk about the impermanence where? Very good. What is the first one? All composite things are impermanent, all compounded things are impermanent. Same, right? Okay. So number 3 of the 4 mindfulness and number 1 of the 4 seals, these 2 are correlated, related. Okay, what is number 4 of the 4? What is number 4 of the mindfulness of the phenomenon to be of selfless nature, right? Mindfulness of the phenomenon of selfless nature. In 4 seals, where did we talk about the selflessness?
3.
Number 3. What is number 3? Everything is the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Very good. Okay. So the mindfulness number 4, we relate this with the seal number 3. You're getting it? Seal number 3, there are 2. Within seal number 3, also 4 seals, seal number 3, there are 2 kinds. There are 2 types. Or everything is the nature of emptiness and selflessness. So selflessness is done. Now emptiness is left. So this emptiness should be seen in the light of the first mindfulness. What is the first mindfulness? Mindfulness of body to be impure. Okay, so here, emptiness, third seal, emptiness, and emptiness in general, these 2 are different. Emptiness in general is very subtle, and emptiness in the context of this one, the third seal, is gross. Emptiness in general, that is what? Subtle one, emptiness is emptiness of objective existence. Very good. Emptiness in general, emptiness is the emptiness of objective. This is very subtle. Whereas emptiness in the context of the third seal is very gross. It's the emptiness of being different. Emptiness of being different from the parts. Emptiness of being different from the parts. You getting it? Okay. Let's say the body and the self. The self and the body, these 2 are different. These 2 are different meaning. You remove the body and the self is left. You remove the body, you remove the mind, still the self is left. So this connotation is seeing the self as different from the parts. Whereas when I understand the emptiness in the context of the third seal, it is where you understand that self is not different from the parts. Self is not different from the body. You getting it? Okay. So the body to be very pure. Although I may not be pure, but my body is very clean. So seeing the body and the self as 2 distinct entities. That is empty. That's the understanding of the emptiness in the context of the third seal. Okay, so this is how we correlate the 4 seals and the 4 mindfulnesses. Aris, you're happy?
I'm very happy.
Good, thank you.
Please, could you please clarify the difference between the third application of mindfulness and how we move to the 4th one?
Okay, so basically, we put it like this. Say, moving from the four mindfulnesses, moving from the first to the second to the third to the fourth. So this is progressively the person is maturing in your meditation, right? The first one is more with the physical body, and which is more complicated, which is more difficult to curb, your attachment to the physical body or to the feelings, which is more difficult? Feelings is much more difficult. Finally, we are not really attached to the external body. We're actually attached to the feeling inside, not external body, right? But the ordinary people meaning who are not matured, they see the external body, it's so like the external body mesmerizes the person. In actually what is happening with the external body is the stimulus, then the internal feeling is triggered. That is stimulated. You're getting it? So what you are attached to is not really the external body. And we think that is the external body, that is what I say is happiness. Right? This is the first one, gross one. Then from there we move to the feeling. That is more difficult. For that matter, to see the feeling as unpleasant. To see the feeling, unpleasant feeling as unpleasant. Then even the pleasant feeling, ordinary people's pleasant feeling as suffering nature. As the nature of the, what is that? Bait? Pitayon. Right? Okay. It's a bait and a neutral feeling as the source of for sustaining the ignorance, right? Okay, feeling. Then next one is mind. Okay, feeling, the mind, to which of the two things one feels more attached to? Your feelings or your mind?
Feelings.
The mind is aware.
Okay, so you might have different answers. Okay, say you feel more attached to your hand or to yourself? Self. No, your hand. Hey, somebody's going to stab your hand. No, right? But somebody says that either you're going to die or you're going to lose your hand. Right? Yes. So we feel ourselves are more important. And who who is thinking? My mind is thinking. So your mind, of the body and mind, your mind is a very important factor, important part of the self. So your mind is more important than the feeling. Because the mind exists all the time. The pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, they change all the time. Right? So therefore mind manifests or it embodies the self. It is not the self. Mind is not the self. But it embodies, it is the representative of the self. Right? It's not the self. Okay. Now the mind and the self. Self is more important. Right? Okay, so therefore, see the transition is from the body to the feeling, to the mind, then to, right, to the self and to all other phenomena. Yeah. Okay, any other questions before we proceed to the next? Yes, Shaha?
We speak about the three levels of dependent origination. The three levels of dependent origination. The first one, result-dependent cause, is related to composite phenomena, compartment phenomena.
Yes.
Now, how can the second one is the whole depending on the parts, and this should take the non-composite, non-compounded phenomena. How can non-compounded phenomena and then the whole and parts relate? Non-compounded usually, it is in English, non-composite means no parts. Then it's the whole and the parts.
Yes. So Shaha has started a very complicated question. So what should I do is deep break, right? Okay. This is okay. What we said this morning was that this morning or this here, the second one. 3 levels of dependent origination. First one is applicable only to the composite phenomena, right? Composite phenomena. And number 1, 2, 3, all 3 are applicable to the what am I saying? Okay. The first one is applicable only to the composite phenomena, and the second and the third applicable to both composite and non-composite phenomena. This is what we said. Having said this, now the question coming up is the second one. How is it applicable to the non-composite phenomena, the past and whole? How can you speak about for non-compulsive phenomena, the past and whole, right? Okay, this is a good question. Anyone who can help me?